Hello my long-lived friends. Today is Tuesday, although I think that this video will be up tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Today is the 9th day toward the end of, well, I suppose not the end, but the middle of my 9th day of my fast. And I have some news, some interesting things have happened. So originally, I think that my supplementing during the fast extensively, which was, anyway, my supplementing I think was causing me gastrointestinal distress, which weakened me a little bit during the fast and made the 6th and 7th days a little bit harder than I think they would have been normally, similar to how it would have been when I first fasted. Now I've entered into uncharted terrain. I've never fasted past 7 days in my lifetime, and I just did the 7th and the 8th day, and today is sort of midway into the 9th day. So I can comment on some of my experiences so far. Of course, I have nothing to compare it to, so it's, I don't know, maybe for someone who's never fasted before, if they fasted this long, it might be harder than it is for me. I'm not sure. My impression right now, although I realize that there's a bit of confounding variables, because I'm not sure if this gastrointestinal distress ended up causing me to have some kind of minor malnutrition, or if this is just how it is. But the way I feel right now is, and this began yesterday, by the way, on the 8th day specifically. I don't know why, but exactly on the 8th day, I began having such low energy that I find it very difficult to work for more than 2 to 3 hours a day. So I'm able to focus, my brain is able to work. It's not that I'm having difficulty recalling words the way I sort of did on my first adult 7-day fast on the 6th and 7th days. I'm not actually experiencing that. I feel like my brain functions pretty well, maybe like at 90% of its normal level. But what I find is that I have such low energy that I end up spending a lot of the day reading books. When Lucie talks to me, I barely respond. Even though Lucie's been fasting too, I think she's experiencing this less than I am. But, like yesterday, she was quite excited and telling me a bunch of stories about different things. And I found myself answering one-word answers and going back to my book. And so it's quite unpleasant, to be honest with you. Now, I'm not experiencing, some people tell me that they get into a bad mood. I'm not experiencing a bad mood, but I am experiencing, as of today, on the 9th day, I started to experience some decrease in sort of like good feelings. Like, I'm not in a bad mood, but what I think it is that I've seen studies that show that rapamycin inhibits some of the positive effects of SSRIs. So my feeling is that there may be some element of like mTOR is somehow necessary to maintain some positive development of the brain, and having mTOR shut down so long may have an impact. But also the lack of nutrition may have an impact, because a lot of the neurotransmitters are developed out of the nutrition that we have. However, if that were the case, I would have probably worse cognition than I do have. So it's not that extreme. Now, the thing about it, though, it's quite interesting. So I've encountered a position now where I realized that originally, when I first started the fast, I had promised that I would fast until I felt like I was harming my body. Now, I don't feel like I'm harming my body, actually. I don't feel something frightening happening to my brain, which is what I thought would happen around 2 weeks in. I was always concerned that if I fasted more than 2 weeks, I may be harming my brain. I don't feel that, but what I do feel is that it's nearly impossible to get much work done. And this is really bugging me. So it's becoming like a thing where I'm fasting for the sake of just fasting. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm not quite sure that the amount of fasting I'm doing is necessary, because, as I say, I fast every month, and, I'm sure I'm getting a lot more targeted cell death and more inhibition of mTOR, longer inhibition of mTOR, more autophagy. But I don't know if I don't know. I feel like I'm doing something. I don't know how to describe it. It's like I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. So and it's inhibiting my work so much. So this is quite frustrating, as I have some genetic analyses to do, and I have consultations and things like that, and I also have some work for my strategy consulting company, which I tried to schedule off, basically like I have a vacation, but I still have work to do. So it's getting in my way. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been thinking that maybe I might implement a fasting mimicking diet. Not break the fast. That's totally unnecessary. But, well, I guess that is a kind of breaking the fast, right? It wouldn't be a water fast anymore. But if I implemented some of Walter Longo's strategies, which my wife originally planned to do after a week, although she kept going, I think, more than a week. But if I implemented like a, 500 to 800 calorie diet, that doesn't have any or much protein at all, maybe there would be a little protein from nuts, I think I would be able to work at a good capacity and continue the diet even longer, which wouldn't be great because then I would, like, my original goal was not to meet people that have fasted longer than me often. So that wouldn't be great in that sense, but it would be good because I would go through a very long autophagy phase, and it would be interesting in that sense. So I think I might do that. I'm not completely sure. So I'm going to update you guys again, which I guess will be on the 11th day. So you guys will receive this tomorrow. It'll be my 10th day, and on the 11th day I'll make another video and let you know what I decided. So that's that. Now I'll give you offer you some updates. So one thing is that I've become very cold, and I was cold originally I got much colder by the 6th or 7th day, but at this point it's really shocking. So usually my body overheats. It's because I have a lot of brown fat, and I really overheat. I'm almost like a heater in the room. Like when Lucie's cold, she comes around me. But even Lucie commented yesterday. She said you're not hot anymore at all. So I'm very, very cold a lot of the time. So usually I have an AC on all the time in the apartment that we live in now, and before in the house. Now I've turned the AC off, and sometimes I feel cold at 75 degrees. Which is really crazy. So my metabolism has really, really shut down, even past what it would normally shut down on my 5-day fast or even on the 7th-day fast. So that's one interesting thing. Another thing is that I've only lost like 0.7 pounds in the last 2 days. So it's decreased a lot. I think the glycogen that I have is somewhat depleted. And by the way, this is an interesting point to talk about. So people think that, when you go on a ketogenic diet, which maybe maximum takes 3 days, you've lost your glycogen in your body, in your muscles, and in your liver. But in reality, you continue to lose more, as I've realized through my 7-day fast before. So you continue to lose more up to 7 days. I think I've probably stopped losing any more glycogen, but so at this point it's probably just fat that I'm losing. But the scale is slowing down. The weight loss is slowing down quite a bit as well. So I'm at 165 now. Another thing is, an interesting side note. I sleep very well. This is something I didn't expect. So the first 2 days of fast, usually you find quite a bit of trouble sleeping. And in my first couple of 7-day fasts, I felt that I had trouble sleeping at least until the 5th day or so. But right now, I actually have very good sleep, and I've been having very good sleep. I sleep actually much longer than I used to. So sometimes I take a nap in the middle of the day, then I sleep for 9 hours at night. It's really bizarre. So that's one interesting side note. I mentioned all of this. Final things I want to say just while I have you guys here. I had a great interview today with Tyann Clark of the Deca Only Notoriety. He's a really nice guy, actually. Came off as a very, very humble guy and a nice fellow to talk to. I think you guys will enjoy that interview. I think it'll be out not next week, but the week after, because I have some interviews planned ahead of time. At the moment, I'm so lazy because of this fast that I'm not even putting up interview clips anymore. Today I segmented some of the interview clips from Dean St. Mart. And then I realized I'm just too lazy to put them on YouTube. So, which is probably a good thing. To be honest, I don't enjoy putting those clips up because it takes a lot of time from me, and it's not a very efficient use of my time. But it helps the channel grow, because when people watch one clip and they want to see the rest, they end up subscribing, whereas if they just see an interview, often they don't subscribe. So that's the reason I do that, and I need subscriptions to be able to get better, not better, but so to be able to continue to get guests for the podcast. But I don't know, at the moment I'm so lazy, I'm thinking of giving up the clips permanently. I don't know if this is some fasting induced thinking pattern. But anyway, the point is, next week we're going to have the podcast. So I'm not going to put any more clips of Dean St. Mart. But next week, you guys should really tune in for the Dean St. Mart interview. Or it was more of a discussion. It was a great discussion, probably the best discussion I've had so far on the health implications of bodybuilding. Dean St. Mart and I coincidentally think very similarly. And he's been talking, apparently, for example, the last clip came out, we were talking about NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It seems he's been talking about that himself for a while. I thought I was the first person to talk about that in regard to bodybuilding. And there are many other things we talked about, dopamine, genes for the brain, many things. It was very entertaining. And I think Dean will be back on the podcast soon, for sure. He was also, by the way, a very nice guy and a pleasure to talk to. And the same goes for Tyann. Tyann will be on next week, and we'll discuss the details, or you'll see the discussion, sorry, not next week, but the week after, and you guys will see the discussion of the DECA-only cycle, which we went into some detail about, and I think finally it'll answer everyone's questions about DECA-only cycles. And then hopefully next week I'll be interviewing a couple or one. Jay is very unreliable, but a couple of the Del Rey misfits. Hopefully I'll be interviewing Brad. Brad seems extremely reliable compared to Jay. Jay I've tried to interview a couple of times, but he's a little bit, his schedule is not very clear all the time. So I may interview Jay this weekend, but we'll see how it goes. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. I'll update you in a couple of days. I'll let you know if I decided to do the fasting mimicking diet or not. To be honest, for the sake of my original purpose, I shouldn't. But I'm a person that if I'm not working, I get very antsy. And I'm at a point where really I can't work. I have very little energy to do anything. So I don't know, it's really frustrating me. So I'm gonna let you guys know how I feel about it. But anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.